Welcome, Guardians, to another episode of the Destiny Tracker podcast. I am your host, Jay, the content manager here at the Tracker Network. And joining me this week is my special guest co-host, Darkside Royalty, Joker. Joker, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Welcome back, my friend. Our special guest this week is Parris, the host of Gamertag Radio. Parris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I'm really excited to be on. Been a long time coming.
Thank you. Yes, we are super excited to have you here tonight. We've been playing this for a while. J-Ram sadly cannot be joining us tonight. He has taken the night off, but hopefully he will be back next week. Alright guys, so we have a packed show tonight, so much to talk about. As always, we're going to go through our content creator Q&A, and then we're going to dive into our most fun. And then we're not going to talk about Charles of the Nine this week because the stats are a bit depressing, as always. But we are going to do a brand new segment called Tracker Network News because there's so much news in video games that happened this week. So I'm really excited to dive into all of that. And then we're going to dive into some Iron Banner, the TWAB, and then our last segment, as always, will be the last word. Packed show, lots to talk about. But before we dive into all of that, I do have some few housekeeping things that I, of course, have to get out the way. So you guys can find the DTR podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and the Google Play Store at Destiny Tracker Podcast. The show is recorded live on Fridays at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Live on twitch.tv/DestinyTrack. If you guys would like to support the show, you guys can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and make sure to leave a review. And then you guys can also follow us on Podbean. You guys can use our promo code DTR for 10% off your Gamersubs GG order. All right, Parris, I'm going to pass it on to you for our content creator Q&A. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. As you alluded to before, I'm a co-host on Gamertag Radio, which is a gaming podcast that has been around since 2005. I officially joined back in 2013. We put out two audio episodes per week. And as of last year, we became a partner on Twitch. So we actually stream our podcast live on Twitch when we record. And I've dipped my toe into video content creation on YouTube. And we also, whenever one of the three of us are playing a game, we'll stream it on Twitch as well. We typically cover all games, all systems. I'm on here because I'm the designated Destiny fan because I really love Destiny, and I've been a big supporter of it over the past 3 years. And yeah, I'm like I said before, I'm excited to be here and can't wait to talk some more Destiny and everything else that's going on. Sweet.
So how did you guys get into podcasting?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you're really taking it back now. So Danny Pena, a.k.a. Godfrey, he's the person that started Gamertag Radio. And he really, before podcasts was even podcasts, he was doing internet radio shows for like Phantasy Star Online and things like that. And he got invited to the original Xbox launch in New York, met Bill Gates, that whole thing. And that basically inspired him to go on to create Gamertag Radio in 2005. I was a listener of the show back then, and I saw him at a gaming event in 2006 up at Microsoft, and I saw it, and I'm like, wait, you mean they actually get to go to Xbox? They get to be there? I was like, you know what? I want to do this too. So I reached out to him and another podcast that I would listen to at the time, and both of them got back to me and helped me out a lot. Because I did my own podcast called Uncle Gamer Radio from 2006 until 2011. And during this whole time, like I said, Danny was a big help to me, really got me in the industry, helped me become a podcaster. And we were friends the entire time. We'd meet up at E3, other gaming events, all that stuff. And then, like I said, I actually, and I'm doing air quotes, retired in 2011 because my longtime co-host, he took a job in the gaming industry. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Had a good run. It was a lot of fun. But I'm good. And, you know, Danny, and Peter Toledo, he's the other co-host on Gamertag Radio. The three of us had always been friends over the years. And it just so happened BioShock Infinite came out in 2013. And I really love the game. And they invited me to come on as a guest host. And we're talking about it, reviewing it. We got great feedback about it. And I would say maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that, I wind up part-time being on the show. Like, look, guys, I can't give you full commitment to this. I'll be on every now and again, but I can't do it full time. And I don't think I've barely missed an episode since 2013. And it's been great, man, because we're not just podcast partners. We're friends. We're brothers. I probably talk to those two guys more than I talk to my own family, unfortunately. But it's been great, and we have a blast doing it, and it's just been an amazing experience. You know, for myself personally, like I said, I've been doing this since 2006 for the past 12 years. You know, being in enough into the gaming industry that I get a peek behind the curtain. You know what I mean? I get to see behind the curtain and see how everything works. So it's been a lot of fun.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are almost at episode 700, right?
Oh no, we're past that. We're like officially we're at like episode, I want to say it's in the 40s, like 740, something like that.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But really it's more than that, because like when we go to E3, for an example, we don't put episode numbers on those, because like whenever we do an interview or anything like that, we're just putting them out. We're probably closer to 1,000 at this point than we are 700.
Congratulations.
No, appreciate that. Thank you.
So you guys go to a lot of like events such as E3. You actually went to Bungie, right? Around August-ish?
Yeah, I went to the Destiny 2 review event, and I got to go to Bungie, and that was a bucket list item for me, because I've just been a huge fan of the studio, obviously going back to Halo CE. So the fact that I actually got to go to the studio and again get a little peek behind the curtain and see how things work there was an amazing experience. The fact that, you know, I know a few people that work there now, and yeah, it's great. Again, I feel like I'm just a very lucky person, you know, to be in the position that I'm in.
Congrats. So, are you a Titan hunter or a warlock, or all three?
Titan master race.
I am from Destiny 1. I picked warlock day one, so I will always claim warlock, but I really do love playing a Titan. I have to admit that. I started playing Titan, I'd say about the last year of Destiny 1. And I started Titan with Destiny 2, but I'm still a warlock at heart. But hunters, no, thank you. I don't like hunters.
Yup.
I guess I'm the only hunter here on the podcast. All right. So what is your favorite thing about Destiny 2 and your least favorite thing?
Oh man, I don't think we got enough time in the show. My favorite thing in Destiny 2. I mean, would just have to be some of the new locations, like Nessus as an example. I just love that environment. Failsafe to me is hilarious. The raid, you know, Leviathan and the raid layer is fantastic. I mean, it's really good. Like, I wasn't a fan at first, but the Leviathan grew on me, and I just love, you know, going into basically the belly, you know, of the space and just everything you see, especially when the raid layer came out. I really enjoyed that. I think that's a lot of fun. What I don't like about it, I mean, again, it's all well documented what's been going on with Destiny 2 right now. That, I mean, I'm not going to just belabor it over and over, but I would simply say there's disappointment that Bungie made changes to the game, and they did it. I'll simplify it. They made changes to the game because they were trying to cater to a more casual audience. And in doing so, they simplified the game too much that people like us, the hardcore gamers, we got turned off by it. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, are they doing things right now to fix it? Absolutely. I mean, some of the changes that they've already put out and some of the ones that we'll see coming in March, I mean, they're great. They're exactly what I want them to be. But if you give me a little room, I'll tell this story real quick. So I went to the Destiny 2 reveal event back in May when they first showed it off. And obviously super excited, got to meet so many people from the Destiny community that I've been following over the years or just, you know, played online with or whatever, but to get that whole face-to-face thing. But the reason I bring that up is I remember the choice of going 4v4 with PvP. And I'm like, this is cool, but my son and I really love doing doubles, or I love doing Rumble. We love Iron Banner 6v6. Why are we taking those modes away? Why are we forcing people to only basically do one mode at this point? And the luckiest thing that happened, because you know, I've known Deej over the years, right? So I see Deej at the thing, and Deej pulls me over. Hey, Parris, come sit down over here. I come sit down. And it's Harold Parsons. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I'm sitting there with him. And then someone taps me on my shoulder and jumps over the couch. It's Jason Jones. Wow. So I'm literally sitting with these three people, and inside I'm like, oh, don't say anything dumb. That's all I can think, right? And we had a great conversation, and I brought this up at the time. I go, I love this event. I love everything that you're doing. But the one thing I take pause on is this 4v4 PvP. I understand what they're doing with it. I get what you're trying to accomplish, but I think ultimately it's going to turn people off. And I said that back in May before the game even came.
That's what I was saying too.
You know, and then here we are now. What's about to happen? Iron Banner 6v6, full 6v6 modes, doubles playlist, Rumble playlist. So I feel like, okay, they listen to the community and they're fixing it. But here's the thing. You've alienated so many people by doing that. Because, I mean, just look at the state of the community right now. And I love the game. I'm a super fan of the game. But it's just the reality. You turned off so many people because you made choices that didn't make sense. I mean, I understand having a competitive 4v4 playlist. Absolutely. Let's go for it. Let's do that. I can even understand doing trials in 4v4 if you wanted to experiment with it. But don't take away the other modes that people were playing PvP every day for. Like I said, my son, he's 12 years old now, that, you know, he got into Destiny with the Taken King. And that whole experience with him and I being able to play together is priceless. And guess what? My son doesn't play anymore. He doesn't like the current modes right now. He'll come back, of course, but that to me is just an example of the type of people that they turned off, you know, with some of the changes that they made because they weren't necessary. No one was asking for these changes. You know, instead of, look, add the cool little features that you wanted to add into Destiny 2, but keep all the data and everything that you did the past 3 years of learning and experimenting and making Destiny 1 what it was right there at the end with Rise of Iron. Translate that over to Destiny 2. That's just the thing that never made sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also on that, I mean, look at Bungie's pedigree, right? We have to look at them as an aggregate of what they've put out there, right? Look at, I mean, a lot of people didn't like Halo Reach, but just look at the game modes there. You know, how did we go from that to like 2 4v4 playlists?
Yeah. It's like they how can I say this? It's like they pushed this game so hard to be as such. They want this game for you to play with your friends, but then they switch it up where Crucible is only 4v4, and then the raid is still six players, and then Strikes is only 3 players. Like, you are still splitting up the player base, and that's just not good. I am happy that they are changing it back to 6v6. But Parris, what are your thoughts on them bringing back Rumble and Mayhem and Doubles, but it's not a permanent playlist?
I think they're experimenting right now, is my thought on it. I think by the time we get to the fall expansion, these will all be permanent things because, you know, once we get private matches and just, I think they're iterating right now. So they're like, what can we do in the short term to try and appease people and ease people back in, get feedback? Do you like this? Like, obviously Crimson Doubles, they got amazing feedback on that. Everyone seemed to love Crimson Doubles. So now they're going to iterate on it a little more and, like you said, put into this playlist. Should it be permanent? I think so. But I think just the current design of PvP and what it will take to completely update to make these permanent playlists just isn't feasible right now. So I would imagine at the earliest, probably expansion 2, which I guess is May, right? May. Yeah. Or we might be waiting until the fall update.
I think we'll be waiting until the fall update because it seems like their biggest problem is their registry, the way it does it. Instead of just adding a new list like, say, Halo does or Call of Duty does, it's like, oh, hey, here's a new playlist. They actually have to create an art asset and change up the way the registry is. So I think they have this event registry that they do that they can just rotate the game types through, and that's what they're going to do in the interim. Makes the most sense.
Do you guys think that they're actually going to make it a permanent playlist in the fall?
I think so. I do.
Yeah. I think they're going to hope that enough people come back for the fall expansion because right now what they're going to do is if they had like 5 different playlists, you'd have like, say, you know, 20,000 people or 100,000 people spread out through 5 different playlists. So nobody would be able to find a game, all that nonsense.
So will they lock that behind the expansion paywall with the new maps and things like that, or will that be a part of like a?
I don't think they can.
They've learned their lesson on that one. I don't think they're doing that again.
At this point, I don't know what they're going to do at this point, but hopefully it's a part of the free update.
If they were smart, they would all the multiplayer maps out there for free.
Yeah,
and then be like, here's the raid content, here's the story mode content. but multiplayer stuff's free.
Yeah.
It would keep the community coming back. It would keep people together. And it's not like they're not making money, right? They have the microtransactions. People are buying the microtransactions. I had somebody like message me like they spent like $300 in microtransactions.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, my dude. You know?
Yeah.
You do you.
Have fun.
Yeah. But so they're obviously they have this alternative way of getting money. So I don't see why they don't do the smaller expansions, or at least pieces of the smaller expansions for free, so it keeps the community together.
Yeah. I actually have a little theory about the fall expansion, but we'll talk about that later in the show. Parris, what are your thoughts on the new raid system, about the whole new raid loadout system?
I think it's a step in the right direction. It's if I can step back for a second, part of like with Destiny 1, you would go back and play the raids over and over because you were chasing gear. There was always something that you were trying to chase inside that raid, or a new ornament, things like that. I think this adds an element to that, because you're going to be able, because you're going to have to go in with specific loadouts. There's going to be, specific challenges surrounded around those loadouts. And it's just giving incentive, which I think it's just the overall theme of Destiny 2. Where's my incentive to go back and do these things? So yeah, it's like if this was in Destiny 1, the raid weapon loadout system, I'd have loved it. Yeah. I absolutely would have loved it. So yeah, it's a good thing.
And it's kind of an evolution of like where YouTubers, they would go and do the raid challenges where they'd be like I'm only gonna use No Land Beyond.
That's true.
Yeah.
So. Now it's in the game. Now you can do it. But I don't know if the rewards are at a place where it's like, okay, I'm going to pigeonhole myself into playing it this way for an emblem.
It shows your raid completions.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But I think they need to get the game. It's like a puzzle, right? They're putting one piece in at a time. And it still has this big gaping hole in it. It's like, okay, this is a really cool feature, but why am I doing it? You're missing the other side of the equation.
So, Joker, are you a fan of the raid mods?
Yes, I do think they're a great incentive to go back in and play them. You get like heavy ammo. What is it, like more heavy ammo damage, or you get more solar damage, stuff like that. And it does make the raids easier. Have you seen the videos where people just go in and golden gun Callus?
No, I have
like
not.
Celestial. Yeah, they'll go in and Celestial Nighthawk golden gun him with the solar damage, and it's disgusting. People do crazy things. It's awesome. But I do think that's again a step in the right direction, but it's not there. Just another piece in the puzzle.
Hopefully they
still has big people.
I hope they can complete the puzzle. Parris, same question. Are you a fan of the raid mods?
Yeah, I mean, and very much for everything that he was just saying, it provides just another layer of like, I can see long term past what they're doing right now with it. It's introduced right now, and it can be very OP in its current state. But like when the raid layer, when we get that prestige mode or whatever, I think they're gonna rename it or something, right? But anyways, the prestige mode for the raid layer, those mods are probably going to be necessary to be able to complete it, and you can look down the road when the next raid comes out in the fall and we get to the mods 2.0, they're going to be able to iterate even more on what they've done right now. So no, it's great. And it's going to allow people to have more unique loadouts. Just overall, you can try different things, and that's a good thing, because part of Destiny, part of what you're doing these same encounters over and over again. So you want to be able to go in it and just use different scenarios and see how successful you're going to be.
Well, I mean, that's when Destiny's at its best, is when it's kind of broken. Like, not, like, like when you're overpowered broken, not like, oh, this game sucks broken.
Yeah.
When you're overpowered and you feel that power fantasy, when you have that Superman fantasy going on, it's like, yes, this is the best Destiny I've ever played.
And that's what made D1 fun. You felt like a superhero. You felt so powerful. I hope they can bring that back and improve on it. Hopefully.
Yep. Well, they need to decide what they want to do. Do they want to be this like super kind of Superman fantasy game, or do they want to be super competitive?
Yeah. and I feel like they're having trouble trying to go down which path. Like, I don't think they know exactly which path they want to go down just yet. So we'll have to see.
I think the overall problem has been they tried with Destiny 2 to be a jack of all trades but a master of none. And that's been the problem is they tried to appease everybody. You can't appease everybody. You just can't. You know, either this is a game for the casual audience or this is a game that's for the hardcore competitive audience. There's honestly, there's no in between on that, because you're going to piss off one side or the other. And for the long-term health of this game, honestly, they need to skew towards the more competitive side, because the casual audience will jump in, they'll do the campaign, and then they're gone. They're not going to stick. They're not sticking. They're not going to be us. I've stuck around since 2014, and I continue to play the game. If I was casual, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go play something else. Whereas us, hardcore people, we're going to keep coming back if you keep giving us unique challenges and things to do. So again, like I can give you a perfect example. Trials. I did not play Trials until the last 6 months of Destiny 1, and I kicked myself every day for not playing it until the last 6 months of Destiny 1, because I'm like, oh my God, I like every match, just a bead of sweat coming down my forehead the whole time, because it was that intense and it was that much fun, you know, in which, ironically enough, is something that's missing right now from Destiny 2. I don't have incentive to go play Trials like I did in D1. But that's where they got to get back to with just all their modes, you know, be it Trials, be it regular PvP, be it, you know, the raids or whatever. Just give us those incentives again, you know, and they have to be competitive. They just have to be.
And they really have to figure out which path they want to go down, because look, they have 2 games coming out this year. Like, they're going to have competition now. Anthem and The Division 2. So they have to figure out which path they want to go down. And hate to say this, but they have to do it fast. They have to do it fast.
I don't know if you're going to get to that later in the show, but I definitely got some thoughts on that.
We are.
They definitely have a huge problem with the PvP core and the PvE core. They don't need to be like going off into other, you know, jack of all trades territories.
Exactly.
It's like, you can't get this right. You don't need to be including this. Like, let's fix this, then do this.
Now, I'm really eager to talk about all the video game news, but before we get into that, here's my favorite segment, which is the most fun that you guys had in video games this past week. So for me, I've been playing a ton of Fortnite this week. Like, my addiction to Fortnite right now is bad. It's bad. I've been playing a ton of Fortnite, having a ton of fun in 5 teams of 20. So yeah, that's my most fun this week. Joker, your most fun this week.
I've been playing Gears of War 4, and It's actually a really good game. Of course, you get a lot of trash talk in that game, like hate mail, especially if you go around just chainsawing people. And I don't understand any of the hate mail because it's in Spanish. That's all it is. So, but it's oh man, if you get a chance, go play Gears of War multiplayer. It's actually really good. The Nasher's a little overpowered, but you know what? It knows what it is.
All right, sweet. And Parris, your most fun this week.
I went back and I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn again on PlayStation 4. It just fantastic game. I love that game. Just the Far Cry-esque open world that they made on there. It's a lot of fun to play. The story is fantastic as well, and you know, graphically, I mean, it's amazing, really good.
Now, I have never played that game, even though I have a PS4, but I have never played that game, and that's something on my list of games that I have to play. I really want to play that game. Hopefully soon. Alright, guys, so let's move on to our Tracker Network news segment. And the first bit of news that I would like to talk about is the Black Ops 4 announcement. Because, wow, I did not expect them to, like, really tease it this early in the year. So Black Ops 4, of course, is announced. Its release date is October 12th, and the world reveal event will be May 17th. Now, I did say it is coming out on October 12th, which is not usually the release schedule of a COD game. And my theory is, maybe I have 2 theories actually. They are going to release that game because, one, we all know that there's going to be a fall expansion for Destiny 2. And right now, I don't think they really know if that's going to sell too well, so they're going to push that game up early because, again, Activision is a company. They have to please shareholders, and they need the cash to come in. And the second theory, which kind of relates to the first one, is we know that we are going to get Red Dead Redemption 2 at the end of October. And then we're going to get a new Battlefield game, which will most likely release in October. And who else knows whatever game is going to release in October. So they want to push out this COD game before those games come out, so it doesn't really like get sunk in with all those other major titles. So Parris, I'm going to pass it on to you, and what are your thoughts on that, and then your theory on why they are pushing out Black Ops 4 pretty early?
I think your theories have some validity. They very well could be the reason that this is happening. I mean, when you look at a Red Dead coming in October, you may not want to wait 3 weeks after Red Dead Redemption is out to put out Call of Duty this year. You know, we're all speculating that a Battlefield could potentially be coming out, you know, end of October this year, even though that's not really stopped them in the past as far as being worried about that for competition. But you know, we don't have anything official at this point, but it's been 3 years. So there very well could be a Halo 6 coming out this year as well. You know, we don't know what Ubisoft's big title is going to be this year. It's probably not going to be Assassin's Creed. It's probably not going to be a Watch Dogs. I mean, does Sam Fisher come back this year? I mean, we don't know. Yeah. So there's going to be something big coming from them as well. And let's not forget, Spider-Man is probably coming in October and November this year on the PlayStation. And after Infinity War and all the Marvel stuff that's going to happen this year, that game is going to be highly anticipated. So there's going to be a ton of competition. And, you know, while Call of Duty, you know, some people may complain, oh, it's getting stale. They keep doing the same thing over the year, blah, 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 blah. It's always the #1 selling game every year. Exactly. And maybe Activision's looking at this and saying, we don't want to lose the belt. We want to keep the title belt. So we're going to come out early. And instead of people having to wait, make people, you got to make a choice. Do you get the Call of Duty game you play every year and you have fun with your buddies, or do you go get Red Dead? Whereas maybe they go get Red Dead first, and then they're like, I don't have any more money to get Call of Duty this year. So they're like, no. We're gonna come out early. We're gonna stay the #1 selling game and just go from there. So I think that, in my opinion, that's probably what their strategy is.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because it's coming out at the beginning of Q4, so they come out at the beginning of the holiday season, so they dominate the holiday season.
Exactly. Yep. Joker, your thoughts on all of that?
Well, pretty much.
I
said, yeah. No, I do completely agree, because if it was coming out in, say, like the September-ish, you know, in the Q3, then maybe it would account for Destiny's losses. Yeah. But, you know, and I do still think that's a valid opinion. But I don't think the beginning of October or the beginning of November is necessarily a big enough time gap to go, oh, well, we're going to recoup on Destiny. But I do think it gets them out ahead of Spider-Man. It gets them out ahead of Red Dead. It gets them out ahead of Halo 6 if that's coming out, unless that comes out in September. So, yeah, I think it's more like they want the market share. And they go, well, we can feasibly have this game out the window in October, so let's do it.
Oh, yeah. And the reason why I brought up the G2 Fall expansion is because Bungie has lost a lot of players, and I just don't know if they will be able to bring back those players. So at this point, I honestly do not know if they will be able to bring back those players, because I don't think the pre-orders for this Fall expansion is going to be high. So they have to make up for that.
It's going to be word of mouth.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It really is.
We've had a lot of guests on this show say, well, maybe we're not going to pre-order this fall expansion. We're just going to wait and see the reviews on it and just see how it plays out. Because, again, some of us have fallen into that trap of a lot of us pre-ordered D2 and it didn't live up to some of our expectations. And a lot of people are starting to regret it because a lot of us are stuck with the season pass. And we saw how Curse of Osiris turned out. A lot of people did not enjoy that, so we'll just have to see how that
I know. I definitely already know I'm going to pick up the fall expansion just out of morbid curiosity, right? Like, I'm like, could it get better or could it get any worse? Like, where are they going to go with it? I don't think it can get worse. because they are making leaps and bounds in all the changes that they're doing.
Correct.
But morbid curiosity definitely is going to bring, I think, a lot of the people that said, no, I'm not going to pre-order this. They're going to come back.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think a big thing that Activision and Bungie is going to have to do, probably starting at E3 and just throughout the summer until the fall expansion comes out, is really get the content creators involved in basically in the process. Be more open, show off the game more, invite people up to the studio, show off some of the PvP stuff. I mean, obviously don't show the raid. Nobody wants to see the raid, but show off the changes that you're making, even if they're not ready yet. Say, this is the path we're headed down with this. We hope to have it nailed by the fall. Let us know what's going on, because the more open they are and the more public they are about this, and like you said, the whole word of mouth thing. I'll just take random person, Mesa Sean. If Mesa Sean's at Bungie and he gets to see all of this and they allow him to talk about it, his followers are then, well, maybe I should go pick up the expansion. Then. That's what they're going to have to do. Because like you're saying right now, and I love the game. I have to keep repeating that because I know we keep talking about it more in a negative tone, but I love the game. And you're right. People have left and a lot of them ain't coming back. I was watching a YouTube video with Gathalion. And him just explaining his whole process with his stream and why he abandoned Destiny, and he ain't coming back. He's not. He if he does, it'll be on a limited basis. It'll be nowhere near what it was before, and that's a shame because I think they're going to get it right. I do think by the fall they will have Destiny 2 in a highly enjoyable state. But the problem is, so many people are going to be burned by the fact that it took you a year to get there. Whoa. Why didn't you just wait? Because like I've said it since after launch. They should have delayed this game until literally this time right now. Destiny 2 should be coming out right now. Yeah. And they should have had more feedback from the community to make sure they understood the challenges that they were going to have. Rumors aside on the development process, but what we got at launch just simply was not ready. And like I said, and I was there, I reviewed the game, and it's so funny when I go back and think about that time, because the campaign is great. When you play the campaign, there's no complaints on the campaign. And that's all we got to play. We never got to see the end game, but you went with a leap of faith that, okay, I see they're holding this to the end game. I can't wait till we get to the end game. Yeah. Then we get to the end game and you're like, wait, what are we doing here? Why?
You even started seeing that like 30, 40 hours in, not even in the game. You're like, but 30, 40 hours isn't going to be in your review cycle.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I think they'll get it right by the fall, but they're going to have to do a lot of work over the summer to convince people to want to come back. Yeah,
I 100% agree.
It's also, you have this case of, there's a lot of things that people like fans, core fans even, can deal with in an interim period, but we have no idea what the goal is. We don't know what the goalpost is. What do they want Destiny to look like? Are they going to bring back Destiny 1 weapon systems? Are they going to bring back Destiny 1 skill trees? Or is it going to be like, we're just going to piecemeal things, throw everything against the wall, see what sticks, see what doesn't stick, and keep trying to iterate ad nauseum? Yeah.
It's gonna be, I keep saying it's a long way to fall. 2018 this year.
And I always sound like I'm, my bad. I always sound like I'm negative, but I love the game.
Yeah, we all love the game. Heck, I created a podcast on this game. So we all love this game, and no one wants to see this game fail. We all want to see it succeed. So
agreed. And that's kind of what you're saying. It's not being negative. It's like I'll take this analogy. I've been very hard on Xbox on our podcast, since Xbox One originally came out, because I used to be Xbox MVP back in the day. It's like I know a lot of people over there, and I've been very hard on them because you're very critical of the things you love. Exactly. Right. So that's what this is. We're critical because we love it. So because you know the potential of what it could be. And then I'll just take Xbox as an example. You've seen what they've done the past couple of years, and you can see where they're going. And I go, yep, that's exactly what I want you to do. Like Game Pass is a fantastic thing. Yeah. If you own an Xbox, no brainer to get it. Right. Yeah. Those are the kind of things that Xbox is doing to right the ship. It's too late. for this console generation. I mean, PlayStation is obviously the dominant force, but they're setting themselves up for an even playing field going into the next console generation. And I just hope with Destiny 2, they're not making all these great changes and doing all this great stuff just to set them up for Destiny 3. I know I want it to actually work with Destiny 2 and to be a healthy population of people playing the game.
I don't want to beta test another game.
Yep.
And I mean, that goes with like Anthem, you know, when that comes out. I don't want to be beta testing Anthem. I don't want to be beta testing Division 2. I don't want to be beta testing Warframe or any of that stuff. I want, when a game comes out, I want it to be like in a finished state.
Yep.
I want like new content to come out, not like, oh crap, we have to backtrack and like fix something that we didn't put in. My bad. You know.
I agree. It's like, I'm also critical on this game now is because, look, I think they're going to have competition this year in 2018 there's going to be an Anthem beta soon. That game does ship early 2019, and who knows when the Division 2 launches. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be. It's the perfect segue into, what are your thoughts on that? I know we know nothing about Division 2, but we know it's coming soon. Well, not soon, in about a year-ish. So what are your thoughts on that, Parris? First.
Okay, so funny story on this. So I went to a preview event for the original Division, back in 2016, and I remember, and I got to interview the creative director, and I walked out of that interview, and I turned to Pete, and I go, "This game is in trouble," because big Destiny fan, so obviously I knew the troubles they had year one with the end game and all that, and the Division. I could see it in the preview event. They don't have an end game. This is a problem. So I actually stayed away from the game. And then obviously there's been issues, the whole thing. Well, funny thing is, I started playing the Division with that 1.8 update a couple months ago, and it's fantastic right now. It's in an amazing spot right now. It's a lot of fun to play that game. There's a ton to do on the end game, all that stuff. So with this announcement of the Division 2, I would bet any amount of money that Massive has watched everything that's happened, not only with Bungie, but also with DICE and Battlefront 2. So they're getting the lessons learned now. So I can't see them not launching the Division 2 without taking everything that they've learned the past couple years and making sure that that's their day and date with it launching. Probably, like if I had to guess, probably middle of next year. So with that said, with the momentum that the Division is having right now and just all this positive goodwill that it has, Bungie, and even I look at EA with Anthem, they got a lot to do. They got a lot to prove. They do. They really do. Because I think the Division is poised to take the crown of the quote unquote looter shooter, in this space, because they listened to their community and they basically they took the L. They're like, you know what, you got us. We screwed it up. And they've been fixing the game the past couple of years. They have it in an amazing state. Now they can launch their sequel and they can market it. They can start talking at E3 and said, everything you love about version 1.8, it's going to be there day one with the Division 2. That's all they got to say. And people are like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to try it.
I hope they build off of what they have now and not like a brand new game completely. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And that's, I guess what I'm kind of saying is I think that's the direction they have to go to.
Exactly.
They can't, they can't do anything else.
I think they were watching closely everything that happened with D2, because even EA has said that they're watching everything that had happened to D2 and they're trying to not make those same mistakes, and hopefully they don't. Joker, your thoughts on that?
So I think my biggest problem with the Division has always been like, I feel like it's kind of limited by its setting, right? Like you got an AK-47 and you're shooting a dude for like 5 minutes and you're like, But with that out of the way, like that's why I didn't jump into it first when it first came out. But as a set of systems that you go through and you jump through and you play and you do the looter shooter and stuff like that, it's amazing. So like I was just saying with, games that are coming out like this, it needs to come out in a finished state, right? I think if it like moved from New York, say it did something like a campaign, like a campaign that was just in and of itself its own thing, right? Like a Spec Ops: The Line type campaign. I mean, that's a very Division-y type story when you think about it. And then after that, it's like, okay, now you can go and explore the entire map, and there's other people there, and here's some endgame stuff. I think if they do something like that, a formula like that, then they're setting themselves up to be a really good game, right? And if they bring in everything that people love now, then they're definitely there. However, if it comes out and it's like, oh, I got to wait for this patch because this is broken, or this feature's not here, or this feature's not here, rip the dream. It's Destiny 2 all over again. I mean, and I think people are going to be even more critical of it because it did take so long to get Division into a good state, you know? And I mean, the same thing's going to happen with Destiny when it gets its fall expansion. Because it took so long to get into a good state, people are going to be way more critical of it. Like, it could be the best part of the game that's ever released. The best Destiny content, the best Division content that is ever released. But if it's missing features that people loved, nobody's going to forgive that.
Yep.
So it is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. We can only hope the developers, you know, do right.
Mm-hmm. I have faith in them. I feel like Division 2 will ship as a good game. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do I. I think it'll definitely be like an 8 or a 9. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing's perfect. So that's my.
And they are going to show more info on that around E3, right? I believe so.
Yeah, E3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, E3 is gonna be packed this year. We got Anthem playable, the new Battlefield, new COD, D2 fall update. And, E3 is really gonna be packed.
Do we know that the Division's coming out this year, or do we know that they're just showing it this year?
We know that they're showing it this year.
Yeah, I don't think it'll come this year. I think
because
2019.
The way Ubisoft games are is they'll show them, it'll have a really super awesome presentation, and then they'll come out again. And then 3 years later, and then it kind of degrades as it goes along. Mm-hmm. No, I love Ubisoft games, but come on.
If it comes out in early 2019, then that's direct competition with Anthem. So that's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
So I feel like Ubisoft is in a weird position where do they release it in the fall or winter of 2018 or early 2019 or later? Because no matter what, they're going to have competition with a game. So
I would release it in summer, because the reason games used to not release in summer, or the big reason, is because it didn't want to compete with the blockbuster movies. And I don't think that's as much of the market share as it used to be, because it's all superhero stuff and people are tired of superhero stuff. So I think if you give people a game, well, I'm not either. I love comics.
Yeah.
But just in general, people, like, you always hear, oh, it's another superhero movie, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the best thing about Logan is it wasn't a superhero movie.
It was good. It was really good.
But you got, all these people that are like, So I think if the game comes out in the summer, it'll actually do a lot better than if it comes out in the fall.
Mm-hmm. I just want to throw this out there really quickly. We are less than 50 days away from Infinity War. I am so excited.
That new Iron Man.
I have like the countdown on my wall behind me. I have it on my calendar. I am so excited for that movie. 10 years in the making. 10 years in the making. So let's move on to just really quickly about Fortnite. Did you guys hear that Fortnite is coming to mobile devices? That is huge. I think that's huge news. It's gonna have crossplay between PC, Android, and PS4. That's gonna be later. I think Fortnite coming to mobile is huge news. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Just really quickly.
I think
Parris?
it's too much. Personally, I think it's too much. I think coming to mobile, they're starting to oversaturate it a little bit. And that's just me. It's a debate we've been having offline. And look, I like playing Fortnite and PUBG. I get the whole battle royale genre. Yeah. I get it, but I worry about it being too much too fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's that
yeah.
They're starting to like ramp up on the Fortnite train a lot.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like good and bad, but I'm just saying like it's major news because it's like a lot of people are going to be playing it more. Like their player base will increase because some people don't have a console and some people have friends who play it and they have an iPhone or something and they could play with their friends, or if they have an Android, and then they could play with their friends who are on PS4 or PC or something like that. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
I'm just thinking about that though. Like my phone stutters when I play Pokemon Go, and it's like an Edge 7, you know? Like I mean, it's not that out of date. So it's like, how is this like? That sounds like it'd be actually kind of fun,
Yeah.
like a fun drinking game. Like you stream that, like you're playing it on their phone. But as a like actual serious, people are like getting updates for this. They're doing this hardcore. Oh, I don't know, man. Like,
I will say I have to give props to Epic Games because they have like daily updates on this game. They are always communicating, like they're on top of their game, and I think that's great. I love what they're doing. Like they're very active with their community, always on Reddit talking to people and answering questions and things like that. So huge props to them. I think they're doing great things over there.
It made money. It's only because it made money. Look at Paragon.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, but it's nice to see things
It is what it
that
is.
they're doing. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's dive into some Iron Banner talk. Did you guys play Iron Banner? We're in the last Iron Banner of 4v4, and then the next one will be 6v6. You guys play Joker? Or Parris? Nope. Grown man. If you play.
Go Parris. Guess first. Yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna say I purposely sat this one out. I want to come back with 6v6. So yeah, I have not played.
All right.
I missed an Iron Banner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Banner was live. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's I did not have the chance to play. I've been playing way too much Fortnite. That's not healthy. But I did not have the chance to play. But I will be playing the next one, of course, because it is 6v6. I'm really interested to see how that turns out. So, yeah.
My big thing with the 6v6 is I hope it's like we all talk about wanting 6v6 game, and I think they should be there, right? My worry, however, is how is their servers for it? Because this is going to be the first time 6v6 is in Destiny 2, right? And 6v6 in Destiny 1 had years and years and years of iteration, and it was still always like, especially Iron Banner, still always like. But then again, there might not be enough people playing that's going to be an issue, or that might be all that there is lag. So this just goes back to they need dedicated servers. But
yeah, I think what I'm thinking about is like they built D2 for 4v4, like all the maps and everything. So how is that going to transition to 6v6? There's more players on the battlefield. So are the maps going to be like too small for 6v6? Like I'm just really curious to see how that's going to play out in game.
Agreed.
Because this game was designed for 4v4. So I'm just really curious to see how that's going to play out.
I do think there are some bigger maps, especially like the Destiny 2 maps the Destiny 1 maps the Destiny 1 maps that they've added to Destiny 2. Those are definitely more like 6v6 type maps. So I do think they have a map pool for it. So I think that we'll just be playing like 4 or 5 maps over and over and over and over and over again.
That's true, but it is going to get stale a bit, I think. Yeah.
That's why I didn't play a lot of doubles, so I didn't get burnt out on Burning Shrine.
Yeah.
Burning Shrine. No, I'm not funny. Don't laugh at that.
Did you enjoy doubles on Crimson Days on Parris?
Yeah, because again, that's something my son and I will play together. So that's always a lot of fun, to be able to take out people, father and son. That's why, like I said, I'm excited for that kind of stuff to come back, and why I was like, why are you taking this away? You're taking away something I enjoy with my son. Why are you doing that? So yeah, I'll be happy when the full doubles playlist comes back.
And Shax's dialogue for that, I was like, okay, you guys,
yeah, it's great.
You guys went above and beyond what I expected. Good on you. Good on you. That was good.
All right, let's dive into the Go Fast update in the TWAB. So they're making a lot of changes to the Sandbox. Some good, some I'm like, I don't know how it's going to play out in game. Sounds good on paper, but I don't know how it is going to play out in game. But what are your thoughts on their basically buffing most archetypes in PvE? What are your thoughts on that? Parris?
I think it's good because it's going to promote variety with the weapons. Not everyone's going to use Uriel's gift now in PvP, right? Yeah. So it's a good thing, and I think just the fact that more weapons get buffed, and I know time to kill has been a big thing that people have been worried about. Maybe that's going to help improve that as well. So it's good. I mean, let's put it this way. Sorry, Destiny 1, they would nerf everything. So the fact that they're buffing it,
everything's hitting a buff.
Yeah.
Joker.
So I was going in and I was doing a video about time to kills and stuff like that with weapon archetypes. And like the Midnight Coup hand cannon is like I think it's like 60 damage on a headshot, or it can be 60 to 62. Well, the Better Devils is the slower rate of fire, and it's 62. Okay? Or something like that. And then, or 52, something like that. And then you got the one just above it that's not that much higher, right? So they increase the higher rate of fire, or the slower rate of fire. They increase their damage. So I'm like, okay, but how much? Mm-hmm. If it's like a couple points, like it's not going to matter, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're doing it, do it. If you're not doing it, then like don't hype us with it, right? It's one of those things, because we're only going to be disappointed. Mm-hmm. So I think they need better breakdowns. I think they go, this is the target, this is what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. And if they have to pull that back, then pull that back. Okay? The people that read this update are going to be the people that read the next update.
Yeah.
So if you go, we're targeting for 10 points more damage in PvE on all these weapons, and then you go, okay, well, hold on. In the update where it comes out, well, we were targeting that, but we decided to go with 7 because it was just way too much damage, then people will understand that. Mm-hmm. If you have to draw back, you have to draw back. But I want more detailed updates so I know what I'm looking at. I know how it changes.
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on they're increasing the movement speeds? Joker, yeah.
Well, I hope Titan skating comes back, because that's kind of what it looks like. Like you look at the jumps, and the jumps are changing, and movement's getting faster. I'm like, is that Titan skating? They haven't confirmed it, but like all the pieces are falling into place. Mm-hmm. So Titan skating, Warlock skating's coming back. Mm-hmm. My only thing is, like, you look at the update, right? So power ammo is spawning quicker, and if you kill somebody, you pick it up.
Yeah.
The spawn timers have all been decreased by like 50% mm-hmm. across the board. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm going to be running around and I'm going to have people spawning up my ass.
And you no longer lose your revive tokens upon death, which I like that. I think that's a change. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should only lose your revive tokens when you use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
Not lose it when you die. Like, I never really understand.
I thought that was a glitch, and then it's like, no, that was a feature. And I'm like, oh, okay. That really?
So, Parris, what are your thoughts on their increasing the movement speeds?
Same. I mean, it's again another step in the right direction. They're speeding up the game. I think one of the ultimate goals that they obviously need to reach with all these changes they're making to the sandbox is more individual, quote unquote, hero moments versus everything now is just team killing. That's really all you can do in PvP right now. Whereas Destiny 1 promoted more people. If you had a higher skill set than me, then you could probably take out a group of people on your own, right? Versus it didn't matter. Right now, there's a skill ceiling where it doesn't matter how good you are. Everyone basically hits that ceiling, and that's just where everyone is. And these type of changes are going to start fixing that, which, like I said, is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Gears. I've been playing a lot of Gears of War, and I play a lot of King of the Hill. It's a great game type. If you play Gears of War, play King of the Hill. And you go in, and Gears of War has one of the slowest time to kills, but also one of the fastest time to kills, because everything can either be an instant kill or take 5 years to kill somebody, because you got to down them and then you got to go over and exit. Yeah. So when you go in and you have these like moments where you're just like chainsawing an entire team in a hill, because you chainsaw a dude, then you bounce to a wall, and then you come up and shotgun him. And, it's these really great moments, and you're like recording it and you're screaming and you're throwing your controller. You're like, yeah, you don't have that in Destiny, because it's just, okay, I'm going to point at a wall and shoot.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, which direction they really want the game to go still. Like, do they want it to be competitive in PvP or have these awesome, fast-paced hero moments, right?
Yeah. So look at some of the most competitive games out there, right? Like mm-hmm. Look at Halo. Halo wasn't made to be a competitive game. Mm-hmm. It just happened because the game was, people like playing the game, and then people like getting together and fighting each other in the game. They're like, hey, let's like throw tournaments for this. It wasn't like, we're going to make Halo super competitive. No, it's just like, we're going to play Halo and we're going to play it in a competitive setting. If you give people the tools, if you give the community the tools to make a game competitive, they will make it competitive.
My only issue with that is, like, I don't know if some of those quote-unquote pros, Destiny players, will come back. And I think, like, that's an issue. Because we run some esports things here, and I don't know if those players will come back. We have, like, a major tournament, because it depends on how the current state of the game is. And if people will enjoy it. Because I know a lot of people did not enjoy watching Trials of the Nine streams. A lot of people thought that was not fun to watch.
Well, I mean, we talk about it in this kind of like, everybody just wants to play the game. But with like pro players, it does come back to money, right? Or it comes back to, you know, their financial well-being. Mm-hmm. So if there's a lot of people got into Destiny and wanted to push for a competitive Destiny because they wanted to be the guys in on the ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds really sleazy, but no, that's just how it is. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be the guys who built it up. And so Destiny 1 kind of burnt them, but they still tried. And man, you got to give them props that, like, linking up games by like trying to figure out who's matching who, like, that's insane. Like, they really went the mile for it. And then, like, you know, then we finally got custom games only to not get them again, you know? So I think the competitive community has been burned, but I do think that there is a want to be in on the ground floor of that. So if you build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm. So another major change that's coming is in the competitive mode and in trials, they are removing the radar. What are your thoughts on that? Parris, you first.
Love it. Really? It
Okay.
just makes it even more competitive. I'm 100% behind it. I love it. So yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah. Joker?
We had spooky trials in Destiny 1, and I think, because coming from Halo, I played a lot of MLG competitive Halo, and we didn't have radar. Mm-hmm. You know, Gears of War, you don't have radar. You know, so I play a lot of games where where radar's a novelty to me, and I think it does slow down the game. I do think it, you know, changes the way that people play. However, when you have radar in a game for years and years and years and years, and then you just suddenly decide to take it out, it does make people kind of more campy. It bunches them together. So I think what you're going to see is a lot of camping, a lot of bunching. But I do think there's going to be some enterprising people who go, hey, wait, now I can flank people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to take a while to take hold and catch on.
And yeah, you bring up a great point on that. I think in the short term, you're going to see a lot of camping, but I think the long-term overall health of the PvP community, the competitive community, because then people are going to start, like you said, they're going to start figuring out new strategies. Like, oh wait, this flank thing, I had never had to do that before. Now I do. You know, so it's just going to create new scenarios on the competitive side than on the trial side. So yeah, I'm 100% for it.
Yep.
Why not?
Same here.
I did put out this question on Twitter, and I've basically got like 50-50 answers. Some people are super excited, some people are not. Personally, I'm curious and interested to see how this will play out in game. Yeah, of course I'm going to play it and things like that. So, I mean, I'm excited.
Oh, it's going to suck for the first couple of months.
Yeah.
It's going to, people are going to hate it. People are absolutely going to hate this change.
Yeah.
Coming from an MLG Halo background, where I played, you know, went to tournaments, stuff like that. That's how competitive games should be.
Yeah.
You know, you should be calling out. You should be using team communications. LFGing trials is just going to be even worse now. So people are going to have to learn and adapt. Yeah. Like that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. And it's like it's not even in the game yet, and people are already complaining about it. Like, no, don't make that change, and things like that. So I am curious to see how it is going to play out in game and see how the community takes it. We shall see. So seems like they're also increasing the base damage on the sniper rifles and PvE. They're also increasing the aim assist and the inventory size. So, do you guys think they are preparing to change up the whole weapon system starting with this update? Like, how would you guys like to see the weapon system change?
we don't have enough time for that. I mean, Short answer, I would love to see them go back to primary, special, and heavy. That would be my long-term goal I would like to see. But in the short term, I think this is the start of the compromise that they're trying to do with some of these weapon balances and changes that they're doing. Like, that video that Josh Hamrick even put out on Twitter that they inserted into the weekly update. I mean, just goes to show you, some of the gameplay that you can see with the sniper now, which is good. I mean, that's like, I never use my sniper anymore. Yeah. And that was something that I used all the time in PvP. So a return to seeing those type of gameplay mechanics is great. It's what the game needs. And let me say this real quick, because I know this is people listening to this or watching on Twitch. A lot of these changes, people are probably going to say, well, they're just making it Destiny 1 again. Yeah, but you know what? We're at the point right now of, just get it back to Destiny 1 at this point, and then let's hit the reset and then build upon that. Because honestly, that's what they should have done in the first place. But, it is what it is at this point.
Well, and to kind of even branch off that, if we get it back to Destiny 1, right? We get it back to a system that we know works, then we can go, okay, what was wrong with the Destiny 1 system? Now, I always use like Fellwinter's Lie as an example. So people are like, well, shotguns, man, were shotguns a problem, or was Fellwinter's Lie class of shotguns a problem?
Exactly.
Why does a shotgun have the highest impact stat and highest range stat? That doesn't make sense. Like, and then it can one bang you. Like, what? Why did you make this? So I think if they intelligently design weapons, which is what they said they wanted to do, which is why we have static rolls. They wanted to intelligently design the weapons, even though, so why don't we just go, okay, here's the new system. We're going to design weapons for very intended roles. And if you don't like it, well, don't use that weapon.
Yeah. So when you guys first saw this new weapon system back at the reveal event, did you guys what were your first thoughts on it in Parris?
Why are they doing this? That was my first thought. And then it was one of those things like, okay, they're doing it. Let's see how it plays out. I mean, but okay, they're making a drastic change. And look, everyone's afraid of change. That's just human nature. So you can't, what's the dumb analogy? You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, right? So they tried and it's not working. Just, hey, it is what it is. But I was not that big of a fan of it at first because, and we're seeing it play out right now. It's taken away it's taking away the importance of that special slot and when to use it. I feel like right now, everything, it doesn't matter that something has a burn on it or not anymore. You're just basically using the same weapons, for everything. And then every now and again, I pull up my rocket launcher or something from my heavy slot. So I think that has also taken away. They basically made the weapon system more generic than anything versus making it more versatile.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, my bad.
Oh no,
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. So when you saw Dejan, did you ask them hey, why are you guys changing the weapon system? Or did you ask anyone?
At the time, no. I mean, like I said, back then, my thing, I was more focused on why are you changing PvP than I was the actual weapon system. But I mean, it was definitely something that was, took a minute to get used to, but I think I just accepted it. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Let's see how it plays out, kind of thing.
All right, Joker.
My first reaction, I think this was my third video or something, and I'm like, this is stupid. Why are they doing it? Because real talk though. At the time I go, they're gonna be best in slot weapons. I mean, that's what we already had in Destiny 1. We had best in slot weapons. But now you're asking a sniper rifle to compete with a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
What? No. A highly skilled weapon, like a sniper rifle, competing with a low-skill weapon, rocket launcher. No. Why? Why would you do that?
It's
so. I think why they. Oh, sorry. I think why they did that is because they didn't want to balance special weapons. That's ultimately what it comes back to. Is Destiny 1 had so many balance issues, right? And this is kind of the hindsight's 2020, where Destiny 1 was, even at its worst, even when Thorn and Last Word were dominating the Crucible, and it was Fellwinter's Lie all day, that was still better than what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So
shoot, I just forgot my question. I'm sorry. You can continue that thought.
Okay. I forgot my thought. No. So I think this is one of those like learning things where it's like we've already gone to the worst iteration. So let's go back to Destiny 1 and let's see what works, what doesn't work, and go from there. Because we know Destiny 1 works. Mm-hmm. So let's go from there and fix what was bad about it. And I think the big thing is like, why were sniper rifles such a big problem? Well, it's because they had so much aim assist.
Mm-hmm.
So much aim assist and bullet magnetism. It wasn't how much ammo they had. Nobody cared about that. Okay, so you had a bunch of ammo. Who cares? Mm-hmm. It was, I can literally spin around and pull the trigger and kill somebody. Pretty easily. Why were shotguns a problem? Because they could cross-map.
But you felt powerful using those weapons and things like that.
Yeah, but I like I said, I think they need an intelligent design when it comes back to designing the weapons. Not necessarily, oh, well, shotguns and snipers are the problem, so we need to nerf everything.
Mm-hmm. So, do you guys think that this change was a PvP-driven change? The whole weapon system change?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it really affected PvE a lot. A lot. I don't see people really using the sniper rifles in PvE. I did try for the first few weeks since the raid launch, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to use a rocket or something. So I do think it was a bad change. Not like a terrible change, but I would have liked to see them maybe instead of doing... Or keep the same weapon system, but like add the snipers and stuff back into the special slot along with maybe the primaries. I don't know how that's going to play out because I'm not a game designer, but... Yeah, it's just a thought.
Actually, that would be kind of interesting because now you're choosing, like, do I want to be able to burn something down with, like, a Uriel's Gift, or do I want to use a sniper?
Yeah, like, have that option.
That is at least a little more interesting of a choice.
Mm-hmm. Like, something that I always ask for is, like, or, like, talk about is, like, I want options. Give us options, right? Instead of running into a raid with, like, 2 hand cannons or something. Like, I would like options. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, any lasting thoughts on this TWAB? Yeah.
Step in the right direction. Again, I mean, these are the type of things that I want to see them talking about. I like seeing, key members from the development team, being in the update and then immediately hopping on Twitter and talking about this stuff as well. Like I've even seen like Lars Bakken on Twitter, engaging people, about some of the PvP stuff, Sandbox stuff that they're trying to change. It's like, I think the one thing that, that I try and say, because, everyone knows I'm the quote unquote Destiny super fan on our show is, I love the game and it's the people that behind the game that you have to understand. None of us are happy with where Destiny 2 currently is, but at the same time, neither are the people making the game. They're not happy either. And they are trying to fix the game, and they want this to be an amazing product for all of us to enjoy. Because the one thing that I've learned over the past few years, dealing with Activision and Bungie, is they play the game just as much as we do. And that was a testament to Destiny 1 with how fun it was, because look, they're sitting there as their day jobs. What puts food on the table is making the game, right? But then they'd go in their spare time and actually play it just as much as we do. So it's not, and I know there's politics and boards and all that other stuff, behind the scenes that have influenced a lot of the changes that we see. But at its core, those guys that you see on the weekly update that actually are talking about the game, they're just as passionate as we are.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. And I definitely think that, just to kind of go into that there's nobody wants to hear that their child's ugly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big helping of crow that Bungie's having to swallow. And I think that putting these updates out is a great idea. However, I want to see like the bigger picture. I want to see like where this is all going, because it's nice to see a little piece here, a little piece there, like I keep using the puzzle analogy. But it's still got a big gaping hole. And if I can see the picture on the box, maybe I know what it's supposed to look like when it's done, then that'll buy a lot of confidence from me.
Agreed.
Yep, I am super excited for March 27th. I can't wait to see how that update will play out. I'm excited for that. So last point of the night on all of this. What are your thoughts on the new Nightfall Strike scoring system, Parris?
I'm of two minds of it. Again, step in the right direction. Because I just did not like the original Nightfall with the timer stuff that they had on there. Yeah. My only concern, and I think Cosmo was the one that addressed this on Twitter or somewhere, but is there's the cheese in it right now with the whole Lost Sector stuff, and they were saying that they can tell who's cheesed it and who hasn't, so they'll exclude those scores versus when they set the the baseline scores for the Nightfall. So if that's true, okay, fine, but it's still the fact that there is a cheese there, that you don't know who's cheesing, who isn't for these scores. I think the ultimate thing about this, which will really get people playing more, is when those unique, Nightfall Strike rewards start coming into play. Once we start seeing those, I think those will be the true incentive to get people to play. But at the same time, if they're gated behind these Nightfall scores on the type of reward that you get from it, they need to get the cheese in check, and they need to have safeguards in place to make sure that we aren't seeing inflated scores that are locking people out of it who don't want to cheese. Because I don't want it to get to a point where I'm like, all right, guys, well, got to do Lost Sector cheese if we want to get this reward, because that score is just way too out of bounds to be realistic. So that'd be my only thing on it.
All right, Joker.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this like last time. It's why was scoring, like when it was introduced into Destiny 1, why was that like a really interesting thing? It's because there was rewards behind it. That's how you got the icebreaker again. So with the scoring as it is, it's just like, okay, that's a thing that I can go do if I want to do that. But I could also be playing Gears of War or Monster Hunter or like, now when they bring out rewards, when they bring out weapons and stuff, armor or whatever, now I'm like, but again, it falls back to Destiny's biggest problem with its weapons is they're all static. So that's a one-trick pony.
That's true.
You do it, you get it, you're done. So I think, again, it's all the, and I sound really negative, but it's a lot of really great systems that would have worked really well in Destiny 1 with the way the systems worked in Destiny 1. But, I mean, we're seeing that when you limit the variations of rewards with the way that Destiny 2 is, then you limit how many times people want to do something. It has a definite finish. Like Destiny 2 has a definite finish line, where Destiny 1 didn't necessarily have that. You could go into Destiny 1 and play and get, you could get all your raid weapons, right? You could get all your raid ornaments, but then you could go, I want a God Roll Eyes Saluna, and then spend 3 years and never get one.
But there is always room for improvement. So I am curious to see how they're going to improve the Nightfall Strike scoring system in the future. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So let's move on to our final segment, which is our last word segment. So despite all the salt that's happening in video games communities, not just in the Destiny community, there's always some type of good that is happening. So tonight's last word will actually go to the Saint 14 project. They're actually working on another mental health awareness charity stream that will happen in May. And they also started a mental health awareness podcast called the Safe 14 Project. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's available on all podcast services. It's really cool. I hope you guys go and check that out. All right, guys. So our final question of the night is actually going to be a superhero question, because Parris, I know you are a super excited for Infinity War, just like I am. Joker, I know you are a superhero fan too. So what is your favorite Marvel movie? It doesn't just have to be Marvel, just your favorite superhero movie. I'll go first. So I will have to say, in terms of Marvel, my favorite Marvel movie, even after seeing Black Panther, still has to be Captain America: The Civil War. I honestly love that movie for a lot of reasons. Like I just love that movie. And my least favorite Marvel movie would have to be Captain America: The First Avenger. I honestly cannot Out of all the movies they created, even all the Iron Mans, I just cannot sit down and rewatch the first Avenger, Captain America movie. All right, so Parris, I'm gonna pass it on to you. What is your favorite and least favorite superhero movie?
Okay, I'm gonna answer it two ways. So Marvel, it would be The Winter Soldier. That would be my favorite.
It's a great movie.
My least favorite would probably be Thor, the original Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking superhero overall, my favorite is The Dark Knight. I mean, just what, obviously the performance Ledger had as a Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this kind of equates to Black Panther as well. If I don't care about the suit, I know it's a great movie. Like, they literally could have still done The Dark Knight and he never put on the suit and you still would have enjoyed it. It would have been a gritty crime drama that you could have watched. Had nothing to do with the cape and cowl. Same with Black Panther as well, which is probably number 2 on my list, Marvel-wise, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I'm gonna cheat and also put Logan up there as well for different reasons, because I love that they were able to do that type of movie, with Wolverine. Yeah. That was the Wolverine we had been wanting for the past, 17 years, and gave Hugh Jackman a great way to go out. Love that movie.
I do have to say The Dark Knight is definitely an amazing movie. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises is just amazing to me. I love those movies. Christopher Nolan is a great director. That's why I really love Dunkirk so much, because even though it was not a Batman movie, the music and the vibe to it still felt like a Christopher Nolan movie. It was amazing. Joker, what is your favorite superhero movie?
Dark Knight, yeah. Well, I'm a huge Batman fan. I mean, that being said, if you just take the Batman parts in Batman versus Superman and just forget the rest of the movie happened, the Batman parts are really cool. But I would have to say my least favorite is Justice League, because it's Batman's suicidal and the plot's resolved in 2 seconds once they bring Superman back, and it's just all over the place. It's stupid. Yeah. I think that's an easy one. Then I would also say Steel with Shaq. That was nobody remembers that movie. That was the 90s superhero movies. Another really good one, Blade from Marvel, the original Blade. No, everybody always forgets about that movie, and I'm like, dude, no, that movie was so cool, and it was a superhero. I mean, at least a comic book movie, But I tend to stick more towards the DC stuff, anyways. So.
Oh, all right. I do have to say, if anyone's interested, Jessica Jones season 2 is now live on Netflix. I may go start that in a few hours after this show, and then again, I'm just cannot wait for Infinity War, April 27th. We may not even have a show that night, because I will be seeing that. I did see Black Panther at midnight, so I will definitely be seeing Infinity War that night. Can't wait.
Yeah, I like the new Iron Man suit is so sick.
Just everything.
So good.
I can't wait to see Thanos on the screen. That's what I'm excited for. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Parris, for joining us this week here on the DTR podcast. You were an amazing guest. Thank you.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's always fun being able to talk about Destiny, the good and the bad.
Of course. Joker, you were an amazing special guest co-host. Thank you so much for joining us this week. You're a great
Thank you. I try.
Thank you. All right, guys. So where can I find you guys on social media? Parris, you first.
You can find me on Twitter at Vicious696. It also goes for the same for Instagram. Our website, if you want to find the podcast, is gamertagradio.com. And we also have a Twitter for that as well, at gamertagradio. Oh, and we're on Twitch. So twitch.tv/gamertagradio.
Sweet. Joker.
You can find me at DSR_Joker on Twitter. And then you can also find me at Darkside Royalty Lore on YouTube.
All right. You guys can find me on Twitter at J_DTR, Destiny Tracker on Twitter at Destiny Track, and on Twitch at Destiny Track, and on YouTube at Destiny Tracker. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the DTR podcast. We will be back next week with Anubis Gaming, which I'm really excited to speak with him. He is the founder of Get Wreck. All right. Parris, Joker, thank you guys so much for joining us this week here on the DTR podcast. It was a great show.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. See you guys next week